The 2018 Hyundai Kona sure is a breath of fresh air. To date, if you were looking for a subcompact or B-segment SUV, it was probably going to be a bit dreary to drive with a slow, undesirable powertrain. Mazda's CX-3 is an exception, but its tiny interior is even more Miata-inspired than its driving experience. Really, everything in this segment has at least one fundamental flaw that makes it tough to recommend, and although the new Kona certainly isn't flawless, it's the first member of the segment to provide abundant power, all-wheel drive and a transmission that isn't depressing. After driving a Kona 1.6 TAWD for a week, I found it to be pleasantly well-rounded, surprisingly good to drive, and just as competitive as our on-paper comparison suggested it might be. First, though, the engine. The Kona's standard 147 horsepower naturally aspirated four-cylinder is perfectly competitive in terms of power, and isn't saddled with a CVT or the Jeep Renegade, Fiat 500X's 9-speed box of highly confused gears. That amounts to a win, but the engine to get is the 1.6-liter turbo 4 good for 175 horsepower and 195 pound-feet of torque. That's more than a Volkswagen Golf, and although this Hyundai mill sounds too much like a growly sewing machine under light acceleration, it's an acceptable trade-off for acceleration that blows the doors off everything in the segment except the 201 horsepower Kia Soul trim, and that car is front-wheel drive only. Testing from various publications indicates 0 to 60 mph times in the mid to upper 6 seconds range, which would be about 3 seconds quicker than just about everything else in the segment. Some are even in the tens. That vast difference is one you'll immediately notice on back-to-back test drives, and an advantage you'll be happy to have in the long run when you consider its estimated fuel economy of 27 miles per gallon combined is equal to the 147 horsepower base engine, and better than most in the segment. It's paired to a 7-speed dual-clutch automated manual that's been smoothed over from earlier Hyundai, Kia applications, no longer herky and jerky at low speeds, and more responsive to throttle inputs.